You're listening to Not So Live from Asteroid G. I'm Mike Finkelstein. With me, as always, is...
Josh Schaefer.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's it? Do you work for the EPA?
No, I do not.
I'm making that joke specifically because of the fact that we're going to be talking about Ghostbusters today, and I saw the glare on your face when I asked you if you worked for the EPA. Like, oh, that was brilliant. I'm so happy now.
No, I do not. I am anti-EPA.
Only in that movie, though.
Yeah.
EPA is great otherwise.
But not in that movie.
But not in that movie.
Because he had no dick.
Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
Best line in any movie ever.
Oh,
fight me.
Love that line so much. It's so well done because it's so deadpan. It's just so deadpan when they do it too. Brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
So Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's something I think we may have like mentioned briefly once or twice, but I know for a fact that you are one of the biggest Ghostbusters fans around.
I don't know a biggest,
dude,
but
don't even like
I
anytime
anytime
some new Ghostbusters toy comes out, you're like, I have to have this.
Yeah. I'm still mad I don't have the Ghost House Lego set that has been discontinued.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
No. Well, I mean, it was like $350.
I couldn't justify it.
No, I mean that was hideously expensive, but I'm really sad you couldn't get it.
Yeah.
It's probably like $1,000 on eBay now.
Yeah. But Playmobil. Or
Yeah.
Playmobil?
I'm not certain how you say that.
It's German, I think?
Yeah, Playmobil.
Playmobil.
There we go.
They had a ghost house
or
a firehouse, and it was much more affordable.
Well, and then you like got my old Ghostbusters toys off of me, and I had a ghost house as well. So
yeah, I have two.
You do have two. You just don't have the Lego one.
No,
but
which is fine. I would never build it.
I would have.
Well, if I had,
yeah.
I'm so nervous about that stuff breaking. Like,
I have a Lego Voltron over there that I built, and it's like, okay, maybe it breaks, but I could probably put it together again afterwards. Like, if I move it, I'm definitely gonna like gently put it on the back seat of a car and drive carefully. But like, I'm not too worried about it breaking, like something like that. I can handle that. Yeah. And I'm sure the Lego Ghost House was probably put together in such a way that if it did break, it would break along a specific seam that you were just supposed to join anyway. Like, that's how the Voltron I have is and how one of the NASA sets is. It's like it's in modules. So if it breaks, it's going to break on the module seam. You'll be okay.
I'll just glue them all together.
Yeah. Oh, that hurt me, and I don't even care that much about Legos. Oh, that pained me.
Oh, your face. That was for the EPA comment.
Fair.
Got you back.
Fair. So, I mean, if we're talking Ghostbusters, honestly, there's not that much in the media that we have to talk about. They're a geek franchise, so they've grown a fair amount. But we're looking at 2 movies, plus the most recent non-continuity one with all the ladies, all the single ladies. And then we had a cartoon that morphed into a different cartoon that morphed into a different cartoon. And then I got a new movie coming out and some comics no one pays attention to.
Yeah, the comics are so-so. Some of them are really good. Some of them are really not
seemed
good.
Interesting, but it's not like any of them matter because none of them are continuity. Like, the problem I have with comics based on movies is the same issue I have like reading Star Trek books that tie, quote-unquote, into the continuity of the shows. They tie into the shows and the movies only as long as Paramount decides they don't want to, like, say they no longer. Yeah. Like, oh, yeah, this novel's great and fills in this backstory here, but 2 episodes from now, we're going to do a completely different backstory, and you can't do anything about it because it's a book, and who reads books? Yeah. Nerd. So, the first 2 movies, which really, as far as I'm concerned, is one movie and then something that people say exists that I just don't watch.
I love the second movie, though.
Really?
Yes, I
do.
I
mean, the only part about the second movie I remember that I liked was the dancing toaster.
That was a good part.
That's it. That's
Vigo, the Carpathian.
and the love goo, like that's... That movie is only really dirty when you go back and think about it.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, it came out of Bill Murray and, well, not Bill Murray's
Dan
mind,
Aykroyd.
but Dan Aykroyd.
It's Dan Aykroyd. And,
Rick Moranis helped write it.
It's a really dirty movie that you only realize is really dirty when you go back and watch it with adult eyes and go, oh, they're talking about jizz the whole time.
Why is it so red?
It's
purple.
Ghost jizz is what it's really strange. Like, it would have been white if they could have gotten away with it with the censors. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure it's love goo.
I'm sure it's 100%. You get it on you and you feel love. It's love goo. It's
that was at the end. They turned it into love goo. At first it was angry goo. And then it turned to love goo.
I think we've all probably been there.
I know I have.
Edgelord goo. So the first movie, which is often considered a classic of the genre and one of Bill Murray's best movies, even though he's only a portion of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He definitely, I think, got the...
he's the MVP of that movie.
The MVP, yeah.
Yeah, because it's Dan Aykroyd's brainchild. Dan Aykroyd really wanted to make this movie, and there were, I want to say there were 2 or 3 versions of it they wanted to do that were just prohibitively expensive for the budget. But that was his brainchild, and there's a lot of his ideas in that movie, and the worst parts of that movie, I think, come from Dan Aykroyd.
I don't know. I think, because there was a lot of hands in there, because, like, Ivan Reitman, I think, helped write the screenplay, too.
Oh, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, I hear Dan Aykroyd after the fact. Like, you watch Sneakers, and how he basically improvised his character, because that character is him.
Oh, Sneakers.
Yeah, and I love Sneakers, don't get me wrong, but Dan Aykroyd's a crazy guy. And that movie perfectly depicts him because it's just him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Blues Brothers was from the same brain, right? Like,
yeah. Remember, this is the guy that made Nothing But Trouble.
Oh. I love Dan Aykroyd.
So when I say that the worst impulses of the series came from Dan Aykroyd, I mean that because you can just go and you can like trace his brain through anything that's weird or unusual or just doesn't work.
Yeah, I can kind of see that, yeah.
And really, I don't think Ghostbusters would work if it didn't have Bill Murray in it.
I think it had, it's one of the few movies where I can't imagine anybody else doing any of the other roles.
I mean, like, they wanted Eddie Murphy for the Ernie Hudson role originally. And
Winston.
Yeah, Winston. I was mentioning the actor, so we knew the context.
No, he's Winston.
Okay. I'm sure he'd argue that, but they wanted Eddie Murphy for the Winston role that Ernie Hudson went on to play. And I feel like if Eddie Murphy had been in that movie, the balance of the movie would be completely different.
I don't think it would have worked as well. I love Eddie Murphy.
It would have been hysterical, but it also would have had 2 very strong people controlling it. And while Bill Murray is only one aspect of it, and you get a lot of deadpan from Egon, whoever played him.
Harold Ramis.
Thank you. And you get a lot of strange humor from Dan Aykroyd, which is mostly reaction shots and him getting like...
He's very animated face.
He does.
Yeah.
He does. Like... The humor, I think, really is solidified by Bill Murray. He's the guy that really brings it all together. And if you'd had Eddie Murphy in there doing the Eddie Murphy shtick on top of that, it would have been a different movie, and I don't know if it would have worked as well.
No, and I 100% agree because you had caricatures of the skeptic, which was Bill Murray, and then just the overly passionate scientist, which was Dan Aykroyd.
Yep.
And then just the nerdy, brainy guy who's into it just for the science.
Yep.
Which was...
Winston. No. Egon.
R.I.P. Harold Ramis.
And
then you just had the everyman character who was like representative of everyone who was watching the movie.
Who wasn't supposed to be an everyman. Like, the original script for the movie said that Winston was actually supposed to have like his own PhD and would come in and be a balanced portion of the team. Yeah. It wasn't just some random guy off the street, which...
I kind of liked it, though, because, I mean, Winston's my favorite Ghostbuster.
Yeah, but it didn't have to be the black guy that was the random guy.
No, and I don't disagree with that at all. And I think that's something that the movie kind of missed out on a little bit.
Yeah.
But they didn't play Winston as an idiot.
No.
So that's...
No. Tell him about the Twinkie.
What about the Twinkie?
What about the Twinkie?
But, I mean, he had value to the team.
Yeah.
And...
They did a better job with him in the second one.
Yeah, he had more to do in the second one. And then there was the video game that you forgot to mention earlier that was...
I forget it exists because I think most people forget it exists.
It was part 3 of the trilogy.
Everyone considers it an official sequel until Sony decides to put out the next Ghostbusters that Jason Reitman is working on. And I'm sure he'll counter it because half the people haven't played the video game. So
it's supposed to be in continuity because it was written by Dan Aykroyd.
Supposed to be.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Supposed to be.
But Winston got his PhD in that game, though.
Well, that's good for him. I will see whether or not it sticks in the next one.
Yeah, we'll see. Of course, it was for Egyptology, I remember. But
all right.
Yeah.
Sure. So the first movie is good. First movie is really good. It's very funny. I mean, there's still, I would say, this Saturday Night Live's kind of sketchiness to it, because you get like the opening sequence and then like a bunch of little skits throughout as they build up their team and like almost montage style, and then just out of nowhere eventually you just get the plot, and it just kind of like the last act is all the plot after they're done having all their sketches as the Ghostbusters. And I guess that's an improvement on the second movie makes, is that it's much more plot focused. But I think it's also why I don't feel like the second movie is as funny, is because the sketch improv quality of it is missing.
Yeah, and I think part of it, and I know objectively Ghostbusters 2 is not a great movie, but...
It's not the Matrix 2 of the Ghostbusters franchise.
Right. But it's the first movie that I physically remember going to see when I was a kid, so I think there's some nostalgia to it.
I get that.
Because I've been obsessed with Ghostbusters since day one. You can ask my mom. Quote.
Came out of the womb. Ghostbusters!
Yeah. It came out in 84. I was born in 84.
You came out in 84?
Can we do phrasing on that one? Does my wife know?
She knows.
Oh, no.
She's known for a while.
Oh, no. But...
Worst kept secret.
That's Tom Cruise.
Wait,
but...
You're Tom Cruise? That's the worst kept... How did I not know this? Wow.
For those of you listening at home, I took off my glasses.
And then you just, like, glared around the room really blind.
Because I cannot see far away without them. But I imagine I looked like Tom Cruise. At least in Mission Impossible 2.
The sketchy mullet. Tom Cruise.
Sketchy Tom Cruise.
The least attractive Tom Cruise.
Not far and away Tom Cruise.
Okay, so, but between number 3... the quote-unquote number 3, the video game, and number 2 that came before it, there was a long run for a while there of the cartoons.
The real Ghostbusters.
The real Ghostbusters, because there was a different Ghostbusters that came out that was wholly unrelated and had a gorilla as...
Hanna-Barbera that did that one?
I can't remember.
I can't remember who did it.
I think it was some other... I don't know. But they had a movie, the direct-to-video fare, and then they had a cartoon based on it, both of which were just called Ghostbusters with a really dumb font. And Sony was not smart enough to secure the trademark on that before the other team did. So they had to, for the cartoon, they had to call themselves the real Ghostbusters. Yep. Which, that's kind of a dickish backhand title right there.
But it's kind of cool, though, because Sony put the real Ghostbusters in the same universe as the movies.
Yeah.
Because the movies... At the time. Yeah. Because the movies were... based off of the real Ghostbusters.
Yeah, and I remember people discussing the fact that the first 2 seasons of the cartoon especially had a darker tone to them that was...
A little bit.
That matched the movies fairly well. The last back half, the 2 or 3 seasons afterwards, when they swapped out one of the voices and had Dave Coulier come in.
I was about to say, it's like when Dave Coulier came in, it kind of...
And they lost Arsenio Hall. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they made... It was Slimer and the real Ghostbusters.
Those were...
It was very kid-friendly at that point.
I loved it when I was a child, but...
Can't go back.
I've been rewatching it with my daughter.
Yeah.
And the first part is amazing, and it still holds up.
And then Slimer comes in.
And yeah, it just kind of... Like, my daughter loves it, but she's 6, so...
It really feels like cartoon, and then Ghostbusters 2 of cartoon, because Slimer was more prevalent in the second movie, too, and he was just not great either. They did a few extra scenes with him, and I was like, why is Slimer showing back up? No one cares about him.
Because of the cartoon.
Yeah, see, so, bleh.
But, yeah. Bleh. But one thing that always kind of blew my mind about Real Ghostbusters is Ernie Hudson auditioned for the role of Winston, but didn't get it because he didn't sound Winston enough. Right? Like,
that's like Charlie Chaplin getting second place in a Charlie Chaplin look-alike contest.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, I loved Arsenio Hall's voice, but it's just... He was literally a Ghostbuster.
It was literally Winston. I thought you were going to point out the fact that that one guy who did the voice of Bill Murray's character on the cartoon also did the voice of Garfield. Then Bill Murray went and voiced Garfield. Yeah. Whatever his name was. I can't remember his name.
But was it Maurice LaMarche?
Yes, Maurice LaMarche or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, that weird Ghostbusters connection. Yeah. That always blew my mind when I heard it. Yeah. I was like, whoa.
And Bill Murray only did that because he thought the director was the Coen brothers.
Not Ethan Coen?
Yep. And so he was like, I really liked No Country for Old Men.
But, he only gets that excuse for the first one. Why did he do the second one?
I'm sure he signed a contract.
He just wanted the paycheck. Remember, if he has any regrets, Garfield, maybe.
Yeah. Poor. If you ever want to talk about it, Bill Murray, if you're listening, I don't mind.
The Garfield movies?
No, if you want to talk about it, he can talk to me about it. I'm going to ask him a lot of questions about Ghostbusters and Caddyshack.
So he's never going to talk to you.
And maybe a couple questions about Groundhog's Day.
You know he's never going to talk to you now.
Maybe. You don't know him.
Just say you're a Cubs fan.
Yeah. I'll say whatever I have to. He's one, not only is he one of my favorite actors, he punched one of my least favorite people on the planet in the face.
Kevin Smith?
Chevy Chase.
Oh, well, yes. Kevin Smith and Chevy Chase were on the same clip. Yeah.
For me, very close. I know that might rub some people the wrong way, but...
We'll get to that at some point in one of these podcasts about your issues with Kevin Smith, I'm sure. So
I took it very personally.
You
just
did. as a teaser.
As a teaser.
So after the cartoons, then we have, I guess, officially the only official quote unquote video game in continuity, because they've had a couple of video games before them. They had like the NES one that was crap, and
what? It was so it was so terrible.
It was terrible.
It was bad.
And they had a couple like Sega games, like one on the Genesis and one on the not Master System.
System? It was it was the same game as on the NES.
Mega Drive is the Genesis and other territories. But yeah, they were different games though, weren't they, on the Master System and the Genesis?
The ones that I played were you still had the top down map with the little ghosts.
Okay.
But they were slightly different. The Master System one I thought was a little better, but...
I played both. Like, I played a couple of these ones when I was a kid, and they were so not memorable, I can't...
Like, I played them a lot.
You got to be a Ghostbusters fan.
Yeah, I really wanted to like them, but they're not playable.
Yeah.
And you forgot the Extreme Ghostbusters cartoon.
We were going to get to that.
Oh, okay.
I thought.
Never mind. I thought...
Yeah, because the Extreme Ghostbusters had, like, the Burger King Kids Club characters. Yes. And it was, like, Wheelie and all them.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It's a lot darker than I remember it being.
My sister Mab liked it. Is it like out on DVD or anything?
I don't know if it's on DVD. It's on Hulu right now, though.
Yeah, she was into it. She liked it, and it only got like a season or so. And
one or two seasons.
She Gargoyle Syndrome. She got really into it, and then it got canceled.
Oh, I'm so mad about that.
It's okay. It got replaced in continuity by the video game.
Yeah.
The in continuity video game, quote unquote, that will be in continuity until it's not. How was the video game?
For Gargoyles?
Yeah, the Ghostbusters. No, the Gargoyles video game. How was it?
I liked it. I liked Goliath. Brooklyn was pretty cool.
You get to glide around and like punch people with your anime style. How was the Ghostbusters video game that's in continuity?
A lot of people didn't like it.
I heard it was kind of crap.
But I loved it just because it had the same voice actors. I think it might have been one of the last acting things Harold Ramis did. And it was a Ghostbusters story. I mean, yeah, you had to do stupid missions and stuff.
And that's the thing. What I heard from the reviews was that the story was pretty good and the voice acting was pretty good, but that the gameplay in and around
there were some parts in that gameplay where I had to turn it off because it was like, zap these 5 electrical grids. And there's 4. And then I'm like, where's the fucking 5th one? So I look at a YouTube video. And it's in this weird spot that
you'd never go
to. So
it's like it's just to annoy Onji, who was here on our previous podcast. It's the opposite of the BioWare syndrome, where it's the story that's good and and it's the action that sucks.
Like some of the action was fun, but like I liked it for the story.
Yeah.
Like I won't defend the gameplay. But
would you go back and play the game again? Is the question.
I tried to, but it's not backwards compatible.
Oh, womp womp. So you have to set up a 360 to play it?
Well, I had it on PlayStation.
Well, and that's the problem, is that the PlayStation 4 just doesn't really care. Like, if you bought on a 360, there's a good chance of because they're trying to make everything backwards compatible. No, but, so would you go back and play it again?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think so. But
it was fun enough to play again?
No.
Oh.
I think if I could find a really high-quality YouTube video of the story elements, that would be preferable.
That was what I was going to ask about. Like, would it just be better just to watch that at this point and get the quote-unquote Ghostbusters experience? Experience.
Yes, I think so.
So I know you and I are divided on the status of whether or not
Answer
2016? 2016, the answer, is that what that's the subtitle they gave it after it was released?
Yeah,
because it was just Ghostbusters when it came out, but the Lady Ghostbusters movie,
Yeah.
Answer the Call.
Mm-hmm.
You hate that movie.
I don't hate it. It's
you hate that movie.
Comparatively to the first two, I didn't like it. To me, like it, the biggest issue I have for it, I don't care if it's all women or, mixture of both sexes. It could be transgender people. I don't care. I want to watch a movie about people busting ghosts. Mm-hmm. But my biggest issue with the movie was there was no reason to make it a separate continuity. They could have just started again. Like they already, and just bringing in all the, the homages to the original Ghostbusters just seemed kind of, it's like, if you got them for these, you could have just,
No, but you see, the thing is, you can't, they couldn't get Bill Murray. No matter how much they want, Bill Murray just won't do another Ghostbusters. He would do a cameo, and he'd allow himself to be shown as a homage to the original, but...
yeah, he's going to be in the third Ghostbusters movie.
Okay, yeah.
So the rumors say.
No, so Dan Aykroyd says. And Dan Aykroyd has been talking out his ass about a real Ghostbusters 3 since Ghostbusters 2 came out.
This is true.
Yeah.
But we have a 10-second trailer of the Ecto-1 starting up now.
And then, of course, he also said it's going to be so great. And then when the Lady Ghostbusters movie was about, it's going to be great. It's going to be a great continuation of the franchise. And then it came out, and he's like, we're going to get a new Ghostbusters after this, and it's going to be, yeah.
I think that what happened with Ghostbusters is, I'm not a big fan of...
Answer the Call.
Answer the Call. I don't think... What's his name? Peter Feig? Paul Feig?
Paul Feig.
I'm not a huge fan of his to begin with.
I'm not really either, no.
He Bridesmaids was okay.
It was funny enough, but I wouldn't watch it again.
Right, and I feel like Ghostbusters Answer the Call was kind of the same vein as that.
I'd probably go back and watch it again over some of his other stuff that he's put out.
Yeah.
It was funny enough, and it was laugh out loud for me in places.
Yeah.
My biggest issue with it, and the reason why I haven't gone back and rewatched it anytime recently, is primarily the problem of it falls apart in the back act.
Yeah.
It basically is like, oh, we need our own Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and it does this weird thing. And while I think Chris Hemsworth sold the crap out of what he was given,
yeah,
there's not a good climax to it. It just kind of fizzles.
Yeah, and I mean, Ghostbusters 2 kind of did that too.
Yeah.
With the Statue of Liberty. But,
oh, God, yeah.
But, I just... And I know this is kind of, hypocritical in a sense, but, in the original Ghostbusters movie, you had the Ghostbusters, you had Janine be the secretary, but Janine, on her own right, was a smart, intelligent woman.
Yeah.
And was a good check personality-wise because she was just, a tough New Yorker chick.
Hemsworth doesn't have that character.
No, he was just a dumb eye candy guy, which is cool. He played the crap out of it, and I loved it. But you can't have a movie that you're saying is tackling sexism while you're being sexist with a whole gender.
I think what they were probably trying for was that they were going the opposite route. It's the women are always the one ogled, and so they're doing the glass ceiling, but for a dude instead.
Yeah, which was great, and I thought it was funny. And Chris Hemsworth was my favorite part of that movie, but.
No, the crazy Egon chick was my favorite part. Whatever her name is.
She was really good, too.
Because, you go and you watch the outtakes on it, and, the outtakes is basically 30 minutes of her doing different versions of her line, because she's a Saturday Night Live player, and she just improvised everything.
Yeah, which is awesome. And she was hysterical.
Yes.
But another issue I had, and I guess this is coming from a straight white male, allegedly.
Oh God, MAGA.
MAGA. No.
Make America Ghostbusters again.
Oh, don't say that. Can we at least get black hats? I only get in a hat or tiki torches. But make Ghostbusters great again.
Anyway, so straight white male hot take, go.
Hot take. But Leslie Jones is funny.
Yes.
And I've enjoyed her in other things I've seen. She's funny on Saturday Night Live.
Yes.
But I don't understand why they did the Winston character like what you were saying before with Ernie Hudson. They did the same thing with her, but they made she was intelligent in the movie, right?
Yeah, she was smart. Street smart, and literally street smart because she knew the city streets very well. Yeah, she was basically Janine, essentially. She was a tough New Yorker.
Yeah, but I feel like there was a little bit of a stereotype there, and she could have just as easily been an architect or...
Didn't have to just be a token taker in the...
Yeah.
She didn't have to be the Sandra Bullock from While You Were Sleeping.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And and I'm all about, like, I have a daughter, and I'm all about having her see strong females, especially, non-white ones, because she's not 100% white. And, I know we can't solve racism on our Ghostbusters podcast.
We can try.
But
I'm still rooting for an all-black Ghostbusters movie.
Oh, but they fight the Klan instead. Best movie ever.
The ghosts of the Klan.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. See, I just want to see an all-black Ghostbusters so that then Sony can pair up with MGM and the sequel can be them fighting Blackula. Because... yeah, like I said that on the website like years and years ago, back when it was just my crappy little blog, and I had this great idea from like, why can't we get this? I desperately want another Blackula movie because really, it's like I'll watch the hell of a Black Ghostbusters, but I really just want another Blackula movie because Blackula's awesome.
Like, Black Klansman is a great movie.
It is, even if it's not historically accurate.
Right, but Black Klansman with ghosts,
Black Ghost Klansman.
Like Spike Lee could do that. I would watch the shit out of that.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you did a Black Ghostbusters movie, you would have to have Spike Lee direct it. That would be fantastic.
I'm going to write him tomorrow.
I mean, he's done paycheck movies before. Let's be honest. The one about the dude hidden in the bank to do the robbery, whatever that was called.
With, was it Clive Owen? No.
Yeah, it was Clive Owen.
Was it? Okay.
Whatever it was called.
Wasn't it like Heist 1, 2, 3?
That's the Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, and that's a completely different movie. Inside Man.
Inside Man, yes.
Yes.
Didn't we talk about that before?
I think we mentioned it once before, yeah. Like, he's done paycheck movies. And while he worked a little of his, racism, sexism shtick into it, which is Spike Lee.
It's an important issue.
Spike Lee is always going to be political in everything he does. That was probably his least political movie. Yeah. He was totally in it just to make a crowd-pleasing blockbuster. And it's a good one. I like that movie, but it feels the least Spike Lee of all of his movies.
When I saw it was a Spike Lee joint, I was like, wait, what?
Really? Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, I mean, the Lady Ghostbusters movie, because I can't think of a better way to call it. Like, I know it's called Answer the Call, but like in my head, it just automatically inserts itself as Lady Ghostbusters.
And there wasn't really a call.
There wasn't a call. And like that's a subtitle that was added on after the fact, just to give it something different. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that movie. I think it's very funny. It's laugh out loud funny in places. And I certainly enjoy it more than the second one. But you are right. There are some missteps in the movie that if you're going to remake it and you get a chance to correct some of the wrongs that the first movie did because it was made in the 1980s, making your black character like more intelligent and more useful. Yeah, that's an important detail that they kind of failed to do.
Yeah, but at least they didn't have a rapey Peter Venkman in it.
This is very true.
Because if you don't remember,
he's a bit bad touch.
He had a knockout needle with him on his date when he went to Dana's, if you don't recall.
But wasn't that because she was kind of
was possessed?
She was possessed at the time.
He went over there on a date.
Yeah, but
so he just carried that with him.
Didn't he also like pretty much make it clear that like once he saw that she was possessed and the needle was actually needed because he brought the needle for that reason.
But he didn't know because they were just.
I thought he did because really.
He just.
I would go back and watch it because I have a lot less respect for Peter at that point.
I didn't notice that until the last time we were watching it because I love the Ghostbusters.
Maybe they just edited it out of the TV version.
They might have. It was on the Netflix one, but because he goes to Dana's apartment to go on a date with her, and
wow, I mean he was pretty creepy in the early scenes too. They did at least not have that. Now, I mean, they're making a new one that we kind of mentioned. What is like, and I don't know how I feel about it. Like, presumably they're gonna have some new cast take over from the original cast, which I kind of felt like they were trying to do with Lady Ghostbusters anyway. But whatever.
A 2-second scene of Dan Aykroyd's character being the uncle of
Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah, like just have Dan Aykroyd be her uncle. And that would have just been a very minor plot thing, and everything would have been fine. I would have been fine with it.
But anyway, what are you looking for in the new one? What are you?
I really hope we see Rick Moranis back. Like
he is actually finally starting to do stuff again.
Yeah, I mean, he had a very noble and legit reason why he stopped.
Raise his kids after his wife died.
Yep. So I can respect that, and more power to him. But I miss him. Like I was a '90s kid, and he was a big part of that, so...
He was in a lot of stuff in the 90s.
Yeah, and I'd like to see him back in the uniform, Maybe just being a weird dude, that's fine too.
He's just a weird dude. That's true.
But I'd like to see him. Obviously, Egon can't come back. But
this was suggested on Twitter. That was some friends that I was talking with, and I really liked this idea. I think my ideal, like, I know they're going to make a movie, and that's great, whatever. But I'm not saying that the next one's going to be any better than the previous ones were, because whatever. There was one.
The likelihood for that is very slim.
Because there was one really good Ghostbusters movie, and pretty much everything since has been various shades of not quite as good.
Yeah.
But what was suggested is doing an anthology series of Ghostbuster stories of different teams.
That'd be cool.
And then, if any of those are actually good, flesh them out into a movie or like their own mini series. Like you can try a Black Ghostbusters or another Lady Ghostbusters or any number of combinations. Like
Chinatown Ghostbusters.
Yeah, like Ghostbusters set in the 1920s and like it's people using old timey stuff, or like a Ghostbuster like time travel thing or something, which is something that Dan Aykroyd wanted to do at some point. You just do unrelated anthology stories about people busting ghosts and see if any of those take off with the fans, and then maybe do a real movie out of it afterwards. Like basically it's a collection of pilot episodes.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of potential for the concept of it that doesn't have to slot into the version of it from the 80s or the version of it we got a couple years ago.
Yeah. Because it doesn't, and maybe it's just me being a naive Midwesterner, but I don't feel like Ghostbusters has to stay in New York. I know it was written by the SNL crowd, so New York obviously plays.
Well, yeah, that's theirs, and that's why the second version of it with the Lady Ghostbusters was also basically an SNL movie because it's
which is fair, and I get it, and I appreciate that. But I think that having separate teams, like maybe like an Atlanta team or a Detroit team or San Francisco, you get a bunch of different chapters.
Ghostbusters Europe with Booster Gold
and Blue Beetle. And Nort.
And Egon.
Oh, that's what happened to him. He became a Green Lantern. But yeah. But I think with the new movie, like,
I'm assuming it's New York. I'm assuming it's going to be the same old fare.
I'm sure. And I'd be okay if none of the original Ghostbusters were in it. If it was just, one of those coming to age tales where someone, like, I don't know, Peter Venkman's kid or someone is just going through his dad's old stuff, and it's like, where do the keys to this car come from? And it's like, what's a Ghostbuster?
And then they have to deal with one of the original Ghostbusters, played by Eddie Murphy.
I can't do his laugh. I wish I could.
Please don't.
I don't want to try.
You're white. That would sound very racist.
Sorry, Eddie Murphy.
We were trying to solve racism, Josh. We were trying to solve it.
You can't solve it without talking about it.
We can solve it without you doing a bad Eddie Murphy laugh, though.
That's true.
Yeah.
One day.
No
days.
No days. You're not allowed.
But also, I would be remiss to not talk about something that we both forgot about.
What?
Ghostbusters 3 was kind of already made into a movie.
Okay.
Evolution? David Duchovny? Sean William Scott?
That was like an alternate script that was written at one point, wasn't it?
It was supposed to, allegedly, I think that was I'm not sure if it's a rumor or not, but...
and I love... and it does.
Evolution's a great movie.
It is. It's great. And it involves Dan Aykroyd. Wasn't it directed by Ivan Reitman?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like basically Ghostbusters without the cast. Yeah. Essentially.
And I just assumed Bill Murray said no. And
they had to do something with it. I mean, that happens with a lot of stuff. Like, Bill and Ted 3 was supposed to happen, and then no, of course they're doing one now, but it wasn't. So they took the script for it and made Biodome out of it. Like, this is just something that Hollywood does. Like, Ocean's 12 was a different movie, different caper movie, and then one of the criminals was turned into 12 criminals. Like, it's just weird how Hollywood does that. So yeah, I mean, I could easily see Evolution have originally been a Ghostbusters movie. I think it benefits from not being.
Oh, I agree.
It's much better as its own one, and it's hysterical.
Yeah. And I think, and you could see the similar, like...
Oh, yeah.
You can see that David Duchovny was obviously supposed to be Bill Murray.
Was supposed to be Bill Murray's character, and it's that same scuzzy, sleazy guy. Yeah.
So...
I don't know who the Orlando Jones was supposed to be. I mean,
I don't know.
He's almost sleazier than...
I was like, maybe he could have been...
He could have been the Venkman character, and maybe the other guy was Dan Aykroyd?
Maybe, yeah. I could see that.
Okay. I don't know. The problem is the fact that you have 4 team members and you basically have only 2 characters. Yeah. So it's like they merged a couple of the characters together weirdly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that movie is so good.
Oh, it is. It is so hysterical. I love that movie so much.
Yeah. And I think
it's terrible.
Oh, but
it's
so good.
Not good, but it is great all at the same time.
Yeah. I need to watch that. I haven't watched it for a minute.
I have to watch that again soon. Anyway, I think we're at this point pretty well talked out on Ghostbusters. I mean, I know you could talk for ages, but not like we either stop now or we're doing a 16-part podcast on Ghostbusters.
So you see,
in the second scene of the first movie where
the proton packs don't actually produce protons.
Please tell me how the containment unit works in detail. Go on.
Well, first, some say it's actually an alternate dimension.
Actually, yes, they do say that. I've seen that in a lot of different material.
Yeah.
Anyway, I feel very nerdy now with that.
Me too. What do I do with my life? No, I just talk about Ghostbusters.
I mean, you're married, so obviously you didn't do everything wrong.
I mean, she's nerdy too, though.
It still works.
It does.
It works. Anyway, I'm Mike Finkelstein.
I am Josh Schaefer.
And this has been Not So Live from Asteroid G. We will see you next time.